What's up, my guy?
What's up, my brother?
Chilling, man. Got my brother Deputy.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for coming on. Thanks for joining the conversation.
Absolutely, bro.
One of my peoples, I had to come and bring this positive talk to you because this is what we do off the camera.
Word.
We're just having the same conversation on the camera. So let the people know a little bit about you. I know a lot about you.
Damn.
What's your name?
All right. Name is Deputy.
And where you get that from? How did you get that? I never asked you that before. All these years I know you.
I got Deputy from, I had a production partner back in the day when I first started producing, and I came in with the Deputies because at that time I'm still a big Neptunes fan, and so I hollered at my boy like, yo, you know, let's be the Deputies. You know what I'm saying? But when I first started, I felt like I wasn't on his skill set. You know what I'm saying? Like he was way advanced than me in terms of like on talent and beat making. You know what I'm saying? So I probably had the vision, but I didn't really have the talent to like really, you know, to like really be equal to him. So I felt like after a while I became a burner. He was like, yo, so I just want to like go on my own way of doing my own thing. Right. And I was like, all right, cool. But I remember how that made me feel. And like that whole situation used to make me feel like, damn, like I wasn't worthy. Right. But that shit gave me the spark in my back, you know what I'm saying? The battery in my back to like, you know, go like, yo, I could do this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
So you went from deputies to deputy.
To deputy, right? Yep. Right. And I was like, watch, I'm gonna do shit myself.
And you doing it. That's why we here.
Did it.
So boom, I got a question for you.
What's up?
We from the same background. We both Caribbean. We both from Brooklyn. Take me back to the household, your upbringing, some of them things and some of them characteristics that people may not know that are in the Caribbean house, which are kind of like set paradigms of like, you know, how we gotta go to school, get a job. We just set. We're not really set to be creative. We're not really set up to be, yo, go be a musician, go be a basketball player. It's like, yo, go to school, or like my grandfather used to always press me and say, go to the army. Like, army, I'm not doing that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what were some of those upbringings that you had to kind of shake coming from Brooklyn and just figuring out this whole thing up until you got to like music?
I think for me, I went through a few phases because I lived with, you know, I lived with my grandmother before, you know what I'm saying? And I mean, at that age, I was young, so, you know, I was still kind of free to do whatever I wanted to do, you know, as long, like school was always pounding in my head though, like do your homework, do your schoolwork, blah, blah, blah. And I kind of like really didn't have a childhood because, you know, back in the neighborhood, like mad people was getting shot.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
the neighborhood, which is
well, I grew up in East Flatbush.
right.
So
Shotterville.
right. So we, you know, I keep saying we never had a childhood. You know what I'm saying? Because we couldn't really go outside. Like if we rode our bikes, we had to ride our bikes like 4 houses down and shit. Right. Turn back around. So I went through that phase, right? But still, you know, in a small world, still had like some sort of creative freedom to do whatever I had to do. I just couldn't go on the sidewalk. But then moved in with my pops and my stepmoms, and I felt like that created a whole nother side to where it kind of like I felt like it limited me, you know what I'm saying? Because there was always tension. And so then we fast forward to me, you know, going through high school and trying to figure out what I'm gonna do with my life. And I felt like being under that household where my stepmom's, like her family, you know, her like they're strict with, you know, all the kids go to school, get a college degree, get a job, you know what I'm saying? And I think that's dope, you know. I always admired that, you know what I'm saying, about their family. But I felt like for me, when it was time for me to figure that out, I didn't really know. I worked at Morgan Stanley for a few years. And then when I decided I wanted to do music, I went from a person who came out of high school making good music, making good money, my bad, to, you know, to sacrificing not having the job I had to pursue music because I felt like Morgan Stanley, the finance world, corporate America wasn't my passion. So I went from an independent person, young person, having everything, you know, having a job, to sacrificing to moving back in with my pops. So now, you know, I'm under a household to where it's like, yo, you know, she's looking at me now like, damn, I want you to do this. I want you to do that. I want you to go to school. I want you to get a job, you know, and go through the ladder that they went through.
You was producing while you was at Morgan Stanley.
Yeah. Now, yeah, I had started. And when I realized that that wasn't my path, you know, wasn't my passion and shit, I kind of like just, not kind of, you know, I stepped away from it. And, you know, a lot of sacrificing, you know, again, moved back in with my pops in his basement, you know, learning, self-taught, you know, trying to figure it out. No longer have money to like, you know, be independent because I quit my job. So going out, I still had a car note. Bro, I had a $500 car note at 19 years old in New York City, bro.
That's a lot of expenses. And insurance.
And insurance.
Yeah.
At 19, a $500 car note. So I went from being able to pay that to not being able to pay that, you know, just to like pursue music. And, you know, it was a lot of hard work, man. But in the end, it all, you know.
So when you left Morgan Stanley, you got the internship. Did you have a plan for what was gonna happen next? Because I know part of your story, you ended up in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Walk me through that. Like, all right, I'm home, I'm making beats, I'm interning. Like, when was the point when you went from intern to like you got a beat place, or you went from a point from an intern to, oh shit, I'm around some producers and I might be in a potential situation? And did you have a roadmap? Was you just going off of like intuition or just gut?
Bro, we from New York City, man. We from Brooklyn, bro.
Right.
There's no map. You figure it out
right.
as you go, and you just know. You just have this confidence about you, this fight from, you know, this fight about you that you just know for a fact. You don't know how it's gonna get done, you know, but it's about to be done. Yeah. So I used to run around with some of my peoples, and they used to serve weed to like a lot of artists and executives.
Right.
So they would have my beat CD with them while they, you know, go on runs and you know, serve people weeds and shit. So one time, you know, my boy gave this my CD to one of the executives at Jive. It happened to be at Jive, and he was like, "Yo, I want to meet him." And that kind of like, you know, became my introduction or my transition from like being an intern to being a producer, and it all happened in the same building organically. You know what I'm saying? And then that connection with that executive, you know, pretty much sparked the platform and the launch of my career with with my first placement. And you know, from there it's been like different layers and levels of like getting to the next level.
How was it when you got like the very first placement, the very first like music check? Was it like, oh shit, all the struggle was like worth it, or did it like change the way you looked at things and made like, yo, you know, whatever I think I really could manifest? Like, what did it do for like your thoughts? Did it change your habits when it became real?
Yeah, I mean, my first placement came about 2 years after I started producing. So I think for sure it definitely, you know, it definitely made me like see like, yo, it's possible. You know what I'm saying? And it definitely, you know, lit another fire under me to like, you know, get the next one and keep it moving. So, you know, whenever you see any sort of like success, any tangible success, you know what I'm saying? Like, for me at least, you know, it always put that battery, you know what I'm saying? Like that extra pep in your step to like go get it again, go get it some more.
Do you feel like, I know we got way more to talk about as far as where you at now, but like, did any of your religion or spiritual beliefs or, you know, your strength spiritually, was there any part in that to keep you going and not quit? Or was it just like, just mindset on a goal? Like, what was it? Was it just human mind, or was it like bigger?
Bro, you know, it was a lot of spirituality, bro, a lot of faith, you know, a lot of prayers, man, you know. Like in those moments, bro, it's like when you sitting there in front of a computer, you got your creativity, and it's just you and nobody else, you know what I'm saying? And you trying to like figure out like, yo, it's just gonna happen.
Right.
You know it's gonna happen, but you don't see it.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
there's no signs of it happening.
Yeah.
So, you know, at those points, I just like learned to just lean on my faith. You know what I'm saying? Faith, believing that, you know, this is gonna happen.
So, at what point of that did you kind of fall back from like the plan you had in your head to I hear my intuition a little clearer and I'm just gonna follow what I hear? Or was you doing that the whole time without being aware that you was doing that the whole time? You get what I'm saying?
Like was
'Cause
I following the voice in my head? Pretty
Yeah,
much?
some people know that is a voice and they hear it and they follow it. Some people following something and they don't know what it is. So they're like, I'm following my
Yeah.
gut, but they don't realize it's some higher shit. Some people just not aware.
And
So,
I think for me, bro, it's always been a gut thing. It's always been a know thing. Because I remember at one point, I almost broke because I went to get a job. You know what I'm saying? And I remember like the very first day I got there, and I was like, "Why am I here?"
Right.
Like I knew my purpose wasn't in a job in a 9 to 5. You know what I'm saying? Because also too, when I was in Morgan Stanley, but also made me transition out of corporate America. I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, and that book, you know what I'm saying, pretty much set my whole mindset on fire to like, yo, why am I investing my time, you know, into somebody else's company? I could, you know, spend my time doing my own shit. And so I said to say, like, you know, when I did try to have a job, you know, I knew it wasn't for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't for me at all. When I tried to go back and get a job, it wasn't for me. So I always knew. It was always a feeling. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if it was any voices, but it was just like a feeling. Like, and many times it was like no choice. No choice, bro. Had to be done.
right.
Yeah.
How you ended up in Atlanta?
I think I wouldn't really consider Atlanta being such a significant part. Atlanta was like more on some personal stuff.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, Atlanta, because at that point, and I mean, it's somewhat is still now, you know, but back then, you know, like everything was happening out there. So I would go out to Atlanta to like work, you know what I'm saying? But then the work turned into like play, you know what I'm saying? Because Atlanta,
It's spicy out there.
oh my God.
Yeah.
So every chance I got to go to Atlanta,
You went.
I would go, but it wasn't really on no producing. Don't get me wrong, like I dibble and dabble in it, but my main purpose, my mindset then, I was trying to talk to them joints,
Right. Have fun.
like the where you from joints.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm
yeah.
from Brooklyn.
You
Oh,
say extra like, yo, I'm from Brooklyn. Yo, come
that's
here.
it. That's what I'm
Oh
telling
shit,
you, bro.
he said that to me like that.
I remember I used to look for flights that had layovers in Atlanta. I
Right.
kid you not. I promise you.
To go
That
there.
had like 7-hour, 8-hour layovers.
Yeah.
And I would go, get out the airport, run around,
and come back.
come right back, take a
Atlanta,
flight,
I
bounce.
feel like that's everywhere though. You got New
So
York
ain't really,
accent.
I never like really. It was like dominantly New York.
New York.
You know, that kind of like set everything off. You know, where I struggled at, where you know, I had some of my first accomplishments happen. You know what I'm saying?
So the point where I met you at, I met you through the homie Daytona. I had just got a studio in Times Square, me and the homie Donnie. And Daytona was like, my boy looking for a studio. And I was like, shit, I don't care whoever it is, just bring him. Like, what phase was you in at that? That's probably like, 10 years ago or something like that.
Yeah, at that phase, I was still trying to figure it out, man. And now that I think about it, I didn't know what I was doing.
Right. None of us did. I mean, you know,
Just
we were doing
just
with
even
that studio.
creatively, bro. Just even creatively, I
Right.
didn't have no sort of like understanding of what I was doing. I was just like going, right? And I think that kind of like, that kind of like was the reason why at that point I didn't know what the fuck was going on.
Right.
And I was trying to like get placements, I was trying to figure it out, bro.
Right.
That's all. At that point when you met me, I was trying to figure it out and trying to be proactive with getting the studio so I could have artists and writers come through,
Yeah,
So-
I didn't know anything either. It's like, oh, studio, all right, cool. Maybe you could make some music in there and then rent it out and do this. Like, know what the hell we doing. Like you said,
Right.
go back to like not really having a blueprint and having a game plan, but having a game plan. Because like I said, a lot of people I meet, and let's go back to the conversation me and you just had. Like, we still on the grind, but like we're successful.
Right.
But we really we're like, it's so much to do. Like we like,
Right.
I don't feel like I really did anything yet. Like I'm just like getting the foundation solid. But when you get around other people who trying to get to even where you at, it make
Yeah.
you step back and be like, yo, shit, like this where I'm at.
Yep.
Cause we so caught up. So how do you take time to be in the moment and realize you have gotten somewhere so far that is quote unquote what success is, and what is success to you? Because success means different things to different people.
Well, let me ask you your second question 1st. Success to me, success is tangible.
Right.
Like anything can be a success. Like you seen another day could be success. You know what I'm saying? You being able to pay for your own food, you being able to do things for yourself, live an independent life, do things for others. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't necessarily, to me, doesn't necessarily mean I have all this gear. You know what I'm saying? And that makes me successful, or I'm able to like buy this, or I'm able to buy that. To me, that's not really successful. You know, I think it's tangible. And I think your first question was,
Like what keeps you
so
in the moment
yeah.
to realize.
So what keeps me in the moment, for the most part, is like whenever I realize I'm complaining, like I've learned to like stop and just be in the moment, be present, and just be grateful for what I have. You know what I'm saying? Because I know there's so many people who would give anything, you know what I'm saying, to even accomplish whatever I accomplish, and they're still on the grind trying to figure it out. So whenever I complain, or I find myself like, you know, not being impatient and just not trying to like, getting frustrated and with anxiety, I feel like that's the moments where I stop and I like reflect on the things that are important. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm here, my health. You know, there's certain things I do for my family. There's a lot I do for myself. You know, and I just remember when I couldn't do those things.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So there's some moments, bro, I wake up if I feel, you know, anxious, like I won't even, like my first thought, bro, would be just being thankful, just being grateful. You know what I'm saying? Thank you, God, because like whenever I'm anxious, man, and I wake up, I feel it on my chest.
Right.
And that's me trying to like control something that I can't control.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I feel like once I learned that I couldn't control certain things, you know, when you try and make it happen, like all the things, one, that really matter gets blocked out. And two, you try to control things. And like, I'm a person, I'm going to try to control it because that's all we know.
Right.
You know, we got to figure it out. And then but sometimes, you know, it doesn't require you to like be in control all the time because we're not in control.
What point you understood to surrender? Was it like a specific like day, or was it just a moment?
Yeah, man. I think for me, I had just had a meeting at Rock Nation, and I was trying to like, you know, I think I had got to the point where, you know, it just didn't make sense to me. So I had a meeting over there, and we agreed that, you know, all right, cool. So there will be no more management services. Like I didn't want to be managed, you know. So we agreed to that, and I felt like in that period of time in my career, it was like one of the most dark places because I was surrounded around people who were my peers, who I seen just like automatically just going up. You know what I'm saying? Just going up, and it like made me reflect. Like, damn, like, you know, while I'm happy for them, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm never.
Am I doing something wrong?
Like, am I doing something wrong? Blah, 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 you know, and it kind of like made me, you know, start thinking about, you know, shit, well, his path and his path, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like I kind of like secluded myself, you know. And then at that point, I think, you know, and I had a conversation with somebody, and it kind of like, you know, they were the ones who kind of made me see like, yo, you tripping, because you like trying to control everything. One, and because things look the way they look at that moment, like bleak and like nothing going on, it kind of like made me forget about everything that was important. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like once I figured it out at that point, that's when everything opened up.
How did that happen for the people who don't know? Because I remember you telling me about the whole situation. I remember when it was just a thought, the whole Roc Nation thing. I remember you like, yo, I think I'm about to sign with them just to bring people through. Because like I said, what we do live, whether we look at it as our day-to-day, like what we live is a dream to other people. Like you doing what you did, I'm doing what I'm doing. Like it's a dream to people, you know what I mean? Like how did that happen? Like how did you get this kid from Brooklyn end up at Roc Nation? Like even that part, like how did that happen?
I think one, I just never stopped.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Even from the time when we first met, you know, I just never stopped. There was nothing really significant happening.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was just working. People was hearing my beats, but nothing really was materializing.
Mm-hmm.
And then a friend of mine knew Rich Kleiman,
Mm-hmm.
who, you know, was a part of Roc Nation when it first
Shout out
started.
to Rich. Rich gave me one of my first DJ jacks.
Yeah.
Like he used to manage Mark Ronson.
Yeah. So I was working at Mark Ronson studio, Alito, All I Do in Soho,
Mm-hmm.
before I got to Roc Nation.
Mm-hmm.
So when my homeboy put me on to Rich, you know, Rich was like, all right, cool, play some beats. Rich liked what he heard. So they ended up reaching out to Tata, and this is like around the same time, you know, this is all the same time Roc Nation's being formed. So I had the meeting with Tata. It lasted about 6 minutes. I played about 3 beats. I thought, man, like, did I do something wrong? It went really quick. So he heard the beats. He was like, yo, let's do it. He was like, where you from? I said, I'm from Brooklyn. He was like, oh, shit.
That's it.
Yeah,
Say less.
Say less. Yeah. So, I mean, that's pretty much how that happened. From me just like working, but like having a friend who knew a friend, you know what I'm saying, and connected the dots.
What was your first major like placement? Like the biggest name when something was like, oh, when you was like, oh, I made it, but you realized, oh shit, I ain't make it yet. But you felt that moment like, oh, this is about to be lit.
Yeah.
Like, what record was that?
Damn.
Who was it with? When you was like, yo, this is it.
I don't know if I'll never feel like this is it in terms of like, but probably a Wale record. So it was my first time working with Wale, who I met through Rich Kleiman too. And we did a record with Neo. And I was like, damn,
I remember that.
I got Neo.
You played me that beat
Yeah.
before that even happened.
Yeah.
In that studio we had.
Quad.
Yeah. No, not in Quad. The studio studio.
Word.
Yeah.
Damn.
Like a long time ago you played me that.
All right, cool.
And then you came back and let me hear it. I was like, okay, shit crazy.
Yep. So that record, because it was like one of my first placements where it should have been a single. It was gonna be a single, and I give Wale trouble every time. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, bro, that shit should have been a single. And he picked something else.
Nah, I remember that record.
You know what I'm saying? But it was like one of the favorites, and it was when Neo was Neo. You know what I'm saying? Like Neo was still Neo, but like, you know what I'm saying? He was on the radio like every.
That was
every
a point
day.
too when music started getting discovered on YouTube too, and that record was kind of popular on YouTube, if I remember correctly. Like you know how music was on YouTube, and they was ripping it and putting it on there.
Yeah,
I remember that.
I just know, bro. Like I was excited because you know everybody was saying it's gonna be a single. It's gonna be a single. And it should have been a single.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But it was in that moment where I was like, damn, all right, cool. Like I did something with like, you know, with some names, you know what I'm saying? And it actually has potential to like be big and but you know, it didn't pan out like that. But in my mind that's how I looked at it at the time.
What about that other record? The Grip in the Sheets joint?
Oh shit.
That was my shit.
Damn, Grip on the Bed. Damn.
Grip in the Bed? Yeah.
Sean Garrett.
Yeah.
Damn, bro.
What about that one? I remember that record.
Yeah, so that actually came before.
Yeah.
And it had Ludacris on it.
Right.
Yep. And that was like one of the most random things that ever happened because it's not like I was in Atlanta with him, you know. He just got the beat. I can't remember how he got the beat. It's probably somebody that I was working with. Anyway, yeah, he got the beat and he did it, and I was like, damn. But at that time, you know, you had Usher popping off, you had Chris Brown, young Chris Brown popping off, you know what I'm saying? And
Yeah, all them pretty boys
yeah,
getting lit.
Sean was like one of the first writers, you know what I'm saying, to like, you know, come out as an artist, try to do the artist thing, you know what I'm saying? So, and Gripping on the Bed was the first record. And I thought that was dope too, because, you know, Luda, you know, listening to Ludaverse, and then they did a video for it. Hype Williams did the video, you know what I'm saying? But the label didn't push it, you know what I'm saying? Like we expected them to. But, you know,
So
it was still dope to me.
after the Wale record, what was the next one that was like big, but you was like, it was unexpected?
Well, I feel like I have a lot of records that could have been big, or I thought would have been big. So I could tell you the next record I thought would have been big. You know what I'm saying? So I did a record with J. Cole, French Montana, and Rick Ross, right? It was supposed to be, it's called Diamonds.
Diamond, yeah.
It's supposed to be a Cole record,
Uh-huh.
because Cole first took the beat, and I think he put Ross on there, and then Ross put French. I don't remember how it went. Anyway, when I heard the record, I was like, damn, this could go. But it went from being Cole's record to be on French Montana's mixtape. You know what I'm saying? So from that transition, automatically limited like the success, you know what I'm saying, of what the record could have been. And then after that, of course, you know, Rihanna's Bitch Better Have My Money.
How did that happen?
Like, when I did the record, I knew what the record was. Like, there's a lot of records. See, I don't ever lie to myself. At least I try not to, right? If I do a record and I think it's dope, like, I genuinely think it's dope. And I'll argue anybody
That's dope.
that is dope. You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember I had a, not to veer off, but I had a, like a, not an argument, but I was at a dinner table and I was with an executive, right? And I'm like, yo, the Power song is amazing. Like 50 Cent Power, it's like, it's amazing. And they was trying to tell me, like, what? You tripping? It ain't that crazy. I'm like, what are you talking about? That shit fire.
Yeah, it's New York.
It didn't even have to, it don't care if it's from you. It was a dope record. 6 months later, like, yo, my band. This is like a revered executive, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like,
They don't know nothing, so.
not even that they don't know anything. It's just that, you know, they were just stuck in their head. But I knew what I felt. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, yo, nah, that shit hard.
Right.
So I said to say, when I do a record and I feel like confident in it, I'm gonna go for it. And I think Bitch Better Have My Money was one of the, you know, definitely was that. I just ain't know if it was gonna happen or not, because we just kept getting mixed signals, you know, on whether it's gonna happen, whether it's not gonna happen. So for a while, it looked like it wasn't gonna happen. For a while, it wasn't happening. Remember when I first sent the record out, got crickets, nobody, like, you know, replied back to my email. And then the buzz of the record started getting around. Then it ended up getting into Rock Nation through my boy Eve. I think he played it for Tata. Tata heard it, called my phone like, yo,
Crazy.
this is crazy. We're gonna try to let Ree hear it. Then it went from like, nah, she not doing it. You know what I'm saying? Bro, like the steps of everything was just like one big roller coaster, to where in that same period of time, I just, you know, where I just told you of, like, you know, me leaving rock, you know what I'm saying, the management side. And even in that meeting, bro, I was like, yo, I got this record called Bitch Better Have My Money. I think it would be dope for Reed. Chris is like, yeah,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? And 10 days after that meeting, they called me like, yo, she want to cut the record. This is 10 days after that meeting.
Where were you? Were you in Cali?
I was in
you
New York.
You
I
was
was
in
by
New
my
York?
aunt's house in Brooklyn when I got that call. And kept blowing my phone like, yo, we need the files. So it went from, like, you know, I had made a dope record to everybody hearing it saying like, yo, this need to be a re-record, to it getting into rock, to them saying, yo, they don't think it's gonna happen. to then a session with BB, who's a writer, you know what I'm saying, who
Mm-hmm.
kind of pressed play
Mm-hmm.
and made it happen in a whole different environment.
And in between those two records, like where were you spiritually? From the Rihanna one to the next big one. Where were you at, like internally, your relationship with God, just you inside your core, like what was it?
I was grateful, bro. I was just grateful because I knew where I came from,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So I went from worrying about how I'm gonna pay my rent.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because I don't have family out here. You know,
Mhm.
I'm ready to move to LA, and I'm running around LA trying to figure it out. So I don't really have
Mhm.
rent at this time.
Mm-hmm.
So just being able to pay my rent and do things for myself again.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Just put me in a space of gratitude. So I was like definitely just grateful.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Did you like do more praying, more like
Yeah, I try to because it's real easy to like get distracted.
Right.
And because I know that, you know what I'm saying, I kind of like just kept it to where I made sure to stay grounded
Mhm.
as much as possible.
Mhm.
Like snap back, like, oh, yo, bro, just because you're not struggling right now don't
Mhm.
mean that you don't, you still don't acknowledge,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying?
Would you suggest any practices for anyone? Like wake up. Like me, if I wake up, I pray. Then after I pray, I don't meditate. I kind of sit and get quiet a little bit to quiet the noise.
Yeah.
Then after that, I listen to like, Bob Proctor audio books and stuff like that. Like you have a regimen that work for you that you think will work for other people?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely pray as soon as I wake up. I started reading some books that I was interested in.
Are there like any three books that you just
there's
recommend?
this book called The Power of Your Subconscious Mind.
Who wrote that?
I can't remember the author, but that book, man, kind of like changed my whole way of thinking because I used to, I was so jaded, bro, and I used to think I was cursed. Like, yo, why is this not happening? And I always felt like if I don't say things, then I always felt like when I said things, it didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
When I read that book, the book was like, nah, you're tripping.
Right.
You got to speak it into existence.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then, but what you say is really controlled by what you think, your thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's not your conscious thoughts, it's your subconscious thoughts, which is attached to like previous experiences, previous situations that are still attached to the way you think, which controls whether or not you think something is
Real
attainable or not. You know what I'm saying? So when I figured that out, I was like, man, I've been doing myself a disservice this entire time by not like speaking it out, by not like walking, in expectancy.
You think that's a black culture thing, like that crab in the bucket?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was taught like, even my mom's old, Caribbean, don't talk it. They're gonna throw salt on it, and then you speak it, don't happen. Then you, like you said, you wake up, you start reading books, you start getting education, and the education is telling you, speak it in existence, manifesting.
Right,
Wait, what? I should say it. Nobody gonna like hate on me, and that's not even real. But we like taught that so much that ideal is in our subconscious. So
bro,
now we got to
reprogram.
reprogram.
Things that my mom, there's certain things that my mom still do to this day.
Mm-hmm.
That I'm like, man, I ain't doing that.
Right. You're not about to wrap me back, put me in the matrix.
She'll like tell me to turn around. Like if I come in late, she'll tell me to turn around, like walk in the house backwards, like all sorts of like.
My grandma would be cooking and she'd be like, yo, I don't want the spirits to mess up the cake, so throwing rum on the floor. I'm like, yo.
Yeah.
That don't do nothing. I don't believe in that.
Right.
When I was a kid, I didn't know what it was, so we just going along with all the hee-haw.
I'm like, yo, I'm not turning around.
I'm
not doing it. You do it. All right. If this is what you feel like it needs to happen to give you your peace of mind, and whatever you think is happening. All right, cool. I'm just not subscribing to that.
You feel like you recreated your own. You recreated how you want Deputy to be and breaking that programming that we took with us from the Caribbean lifestyle? Like now where you at today, did you chop all that fully off, or you kept like the good parts and implemented the new stuff?
You definitely, you still keep the good parts, you know what I'm saying? For sure.
Like the hard work.
The discipline, you know what I'm saying? Definitely discipline. and moral values and shit. You know what I'm saying? All the other stuff.
Yeah.
You got to do this. You got to be
Right,
a
right.
doctor. You got to
Right.
nah. That's out the window.
Mad pressure. My grandfather's like, yo, you need to. Da-da-da-da-da. I said, I don't need to do shit. I just need to be. Let me be. Because anything you try to force me to do, I'm going to do
Yeah.
the opposite anyway.
Yeah.
Leave me alone. I don't want to do none of that stuff you do. You don't seem happy, man.
Yeah.
I'm going to be happy with this struggle because they ain't struggles. Every day I wake up, I'm one step further, even if you don't see it.
Yeah.
I see it in my head.
Right.
If I see it in my head and I could imagine it, it's reality.
And you can't see what I see because you grew up in a
Yes.
whole different,
Right.
different way. So what I do, that's why that's part of, the struggle I had I had to deal with living under my pops and stepmother's house, you know what I'm saying? Cuz her mindset is stuck on, I know my kids go to school, they get a degree and they got a job. Nah. Nah, it wasn't for me. I had already had the job you go to school for.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I did that. So my whole mindset was like, nah, this is trash. And I read that book, Rich Dad Poor Dad. Man, changed my life. So yeah, they gotta definitely read. Read, pray, be grateful. Learn to control your subconscious mind, man.
That's
'Cause
everything.
that's like one of the keys right there because, even when you think you're not consciously doing it, subconsciously
It's in there.
it's in there. You know what I'm saying?
I've been reading this one thing. It's going back to Bob Proctor. A lot of people don't know how to reprogram the subconscious mind, and the biggest part of it is changing your self-image, because that's what's really locked into your mind. So say you used to you work at Morgan Stanley, you make $600,000 a year. That's just what you're making, but during this whole 12 months, but in 1 month you make 200 bands. You ain't your subconscious, because you got yourself programmed to make 600,000. Your subconscious don't tell you, hey Deb, you can make 200 grand every month now. You got it programmed to, I make 600,000. That's how I see myself, as a 600,000, 500,000 type of guy. You just drop back down and stay in the end of the year. You end back up at 500,000 versus saying, I'm at 200,000 for this month. This is the new me now. And you go back inside yourself and rewrite your program to say, hey Rob, you make 200,000 a month now. So now this is who you are. You're a millionaire. You know what I'm saying? People don't understand how to even get back to that place to even go inside and rewrite themselves, which is the subconscious. So that's another reason I even started this, to really get. Our community don't have that talk about subconscious and none of that. They don't get into that. They don't really. You can tell me if I'm right or wrong. Nobody ever came to me and told me about that. I found all this stuff on the internet, and just knowing, I'm like, man, there is something else that I don't know that nobody came and told me. Nobody came and just told me.
Because we're already programmed.
Yes, we all are.
We're already programmed. So,
Right.
And the program isn't fixed in a way for you to learn
Right.
certain things like that. You know what I'm saying? Because you're not learning that in school.
No, which is what they should teach you, that and teach you finance.
And you're not learning that, as an adolescent amongst your peers.
Because parents taught them.
And then their parents didn't teach them. You know what I'm saying? So, nah, you're right. And
You don't get it, bro.
it's a lot of life necessities and life 101s that, which is the reason why we're so behind the 8 ball. You know what I'm saying? As a culture, as a people. It just was never instilled in our parents, because we're coming from generations, of slavery, and craziness, right?
Defaulted program.
Right.
What 3 books would you tell everybody is you should definitely have this in your
Rich Dad Poor Dad, Power Your Subconscious Mind, and The Alchemist.
Alchemist? I love that book. Wifey was trying to make me read that, and I just kept thinking about Alchemist the Producer. I don't know why. I don't want to read that. It's just, I don't know why. I don't even know why. Stupidness. And I was sitting there one day, and the book was just sitting. Bro, I felt like the book was following me. I was on the train, somebody was reading it. I kept seeing it in the house, and then one day I picked it up, and I was like, oh my goodness. We've been using this whole time and never knew what we was doing, like following signs. Yo, this was telling me something was speaking to me. We never really understood alchemy. So yeah, that's definitely a phenomenal book. All right, man.
For sure, brother. I'm trying to think. There's something else though.
What?
Trying to remember it.
Another book?
Another book that I read.
There's a lot of books. And the thing now, you don't have no excuse to be uneducated, because you can still, even if you got money or not, you could listen to all these audio books for free on YouTube. Like, I listen to crazy audio books. So I don't know, man. People, if you're not educated, that's just because you don't want to be educated. You don't, you gotta want to seek better. And the moment you start looking for all this stuff, it comes to you. Everything. When you start looking for it, you be like, yo, this was right there the whole time.
But you know what? What I realized recently, when people don't want it, that's when it comes.
All right, let's go back to our conversation. Depp, you one of the coolest dudes on the planet. You like me. We don't chase nothing. We be chilling, and then people come to us. Whether it was back in the days or females, any of that, you're not the guy who, I've never seen you in my life do a thirst move. Ever. I seen, we've blown smoke, we've done all that other stuff, no thirsty stuff. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's very desirable. But I've learned that's very desirable in everything, not just females, not just that. I think it's very, you don't exist. People thirsty. Like girls, if they show you their DMs, it's probably gonna be like 100 wolves in there. And you the guy who just sitting there like, yeah, I didn't even follow you and you follow me. Like you just kind of like away from that. So yours is a little different, and I understand yours because.
But it's not even mine. It's just me understanding and realizing that I see people who really don't want something,
and it
all comes to them.
Right. Like they just have no intention.
It's like whether it happens or not doesn't matter.
Well, they say your life mirrors your internal thoughts. They say the secrets in your mind and your life, like your life, the way you see it now, are related.
Mind. Yeah.
So maybe they're thinking about it. Maybe they're just not educated enough to know that that's what's happening.
Maybe. Because consciously they'll say, I don't really want this.
But they probably in the back of their head.
I guess so, bro.
They probably sleep and think about it. Just dwell on it all day.
I'm going to try it.
Yeah. I mean.
I don't want this. All right? I don't want this. That's how it works. I don't want this.
Nah, don't put that out there.
You hear me? I'm telling you.
Give me this.
That's when every day, but it's like weird exactly. Because it's like you're supposed to speak it, right? And bro, it's weird. I know that last part just totally contradict everything we just said, but I'm telling you, bro, it's a thing too where I've seen people who don't want it, they receive it.
I think they was thinking about it.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. I just ain't see it. I guess you're right.
Because I feel like you gonna get what you thinking about, good or bad. You gonna get it. You thinking about it, and you giving it energy. So maybe they not conscious that they thinking about it, and like I said, they probably haven't come across the books like
on
the
powers inside. I want it. On the outside, I'm just going. I'm cool. All right. When it happens, it happens.
Look, if it works, just tell me.
Hey man, I'll let you know. Let you know, my boy.
My guy.
Yes, sir.
Man, what you got coming out? What you got? What you working on? Or what are you manifesting? Talk to me. You know what I mean? Leave it however you want. Tell us.
Yeah.
What's going on for you?
Right now, I feel like I'm transitioning into another phase of my career, just like being an executive. So, right now I'm fielding a few offers in terms of like, a label situation. Because I want to break some artists now. You know what I'm saying? So, my artist, Michaela Janae, working on her second EP.
She's fire.
Now. Yeah, man. I'm just like into working with new artists and breaking it. You know what I'm saying? And just getting into this new era of.
How dope is it to watch all of us who never quit, all in like different places from like me, you, Daytona, Tim Glover, Wayno, like Rico, how everybody's like, but these all the people who didn't quit, because we all started with a bunch of people.
Yeah.
But none of us, we didn't quit. How does it feel like when you see them? Because when I see them, I'll be like, yo, let's go. You know what I'm saying? So how does that make you feel seeing your peers just like still here, all the bossed up and just still leveling up?
Grateful, bro.
Yeah.
Grateful, because I can think about a whole bunch of people that ain't here.
Right.
They quit for whatever reason, it ain't happen. So, Man, I have to put more value in that actually, because not that I take it for granted. I just don't ever like big myself up like that. You know what I'm saying? Or I don't ever feel like, yo, like I made it. You know what I'm saying? I never quit, so I made it. But there is value in that. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of people that didn't make it.
They quit.
And they quit.
And they, yo, but this is what but you quit. Well, I didn't quit. You could have been way better. I didn't quit though.
Yeah.
You quit.
And I was never the most talented.
Right. But it ain't about that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna outwork you.
Yeah.
You gonna go to bed. When you sleep, I'm just gonna be up, just learning it. So
Word.
that's it, my boy. I
All right.
appreciate your time.
Appreciate
my
you,
guy.
brother.
Love you, B.
Word. Always,
Happy
bro.
birthday again.
Word. Appreciate
My
it.
dude.